If you're making $100,000 a year right now, you're doing very well, but exactly how far does that go right now in the Des Moines Metro today? With shifting interest rates, property taxes in the Des Moines Metro, the answer might surprise you. Today, I'm going to break down the exact costs, maybe look into some of the hidden costs, and we're going to look at what you can get for that price right now in the Des Moines Metro. By the way, if we hadn't met yet, I'm Andre Duga. I'm a local realtor here in the Des Moines area. I'd love to help you find what you're looking for. Let's get right into it. All right, so let's take a look at the raw numbers. If you're making $100,000 a year, your take-home pay is around $8,333 a month. Loan officers are usually going to look for a debt-to-income ratio right around 43%. So let's assume a couple of things. Let's assume your bills, your debts are like a car payment or a loan, a student loan is about $500 a month. Your property taxes are going to be anywhere from $400 to $600 a month in this area. PMI, you're going to have to pay that unless you put the 20% down, depending on what kind of loan you get. So that puts you comfortably with a loan amount of interest and principal, depending on the rate, which they're fluctuating somewhere around 6.5% right now. That puts you at about $3,000 a month for a loan payment, all that included. So you're looking at a house costs somewhere between $325,000 and $375,000. All right, so to get into that range, loan officers are going to look typically for a few things. First, they're going to look at your credit score, and a credit score at the low side about 620, on the high side about 740. That's going to give you your best rates depending on which loan you're going to get. So loan type, if you go with conventional, that is great if you have a really good credit score and you have some down payment. A lot of people think that with a conventional loan you have to put 20% down. That is not true. You can sometimes put as low as 3% down depending on some other variables. So conventional loan, 3 to 5% down most of the time, then you're paying PMI like I talked about before. Also, your next loan type is probably FHA, and those two are really the most common. FHA, if you have a lower credit score, you can still get into an FHA loan. You're going to pay 3.5% down, and that's where you're going to be if your credit scores are low. That's going to be the best loan type for you probably. Talk to your loan officer. I'll put you in touch with some great ones. And of course, you got the VA loans if you qualify for that. If you're a veteran, by the way, thank you for your service. If you qualify for that, zero down, very strong in our market. It's a very good opportunity. The paperwork's a little different, but the loan officers can definitely handle that. So then you have the kind of in the outskirts, you got what I call rural development loans or USDA loans. Those are great if the house qualifies. In this case, it's going to be the house that qualifies for those loans. And those are great if your house qualifies, that qualifies you for a 0% down, zero down on the house. So that's another great option. Talk to your loan officer. Ask them to give you options. Don't let them just guide you to, oh, you need a conventional loan and just go with it. That might be the right choice, but it may not. Maybe you want different options. Ask them to give you a couple of options. Usually they do. Anyway, don't just assume that if they give you a pre-approval at whatever, $375, that you ought to look at houses at $375. Also, one of the things I always talk about, you don't want to be right at the top of your pre-approval. Then that doesn't allow you a whole lot of room for extra stuff like landscaping or furniture or just disposable income, going out to eat every once in a while. So be careful with that. Don't always go with your top limit. Think about, and we can talk about, what the disposable income is going to be and what houses you should look for and what price range, but go a little bit below what you can actually handle. It'll make you feel a lot better about the process. If you're planning on moving to the Metro and you want like a custom version of this math, or you want to just talk it through, bounce it off of somebody who's done it quite a bit, give me a call. I'd love to help you figure out exactly where you need to be on the houses, or maybe you don't know exactly which areas you want to be in. I can definitely help with that. I can help with all of it. So whether you're looking right now or maybe 6 to 9 months, maybe even a year out, give me a call. I'd love to help you with the process. If you need some help, my contact information is in the description, and I'd love to help. Thanks. So at that price range, you may want to look in like Ankeny and Waukee. Waukee is a fast growing area city in the Des Moines metro, and Ankeny is just a powerhouse. Large population, got everything you want. So what you're going to get for around $350,000, depending on which area you go to, but right about $350,000 will get you a nice 3-bed, 2-bath, ranch, or maybe a little bit older. I say a little bit older, lived-in house that 2-story, 3-bed, 2-bath. That's what you're going to get. Waukee and Ankeny basically are kind of the go-to places, at least 2 of them in the metro. The schools are fantastic, usually 1 and 2. They're ranked very highly. Ankeny is ranked one of the best places to live in the nation, and Waukee is the fastest growing city in the metro for reasons. Everybody wants to go there. So what you're going to get is 3-bed, 2-bath, anywhere 1,600 square feet. A ranch is what I like, but a lot of people are looking at the 2 stories. But you can find that kind of stuff. You can get a little bit more if you go with a resale house, maybe a little bigger, maybe even 4 bedrooms in those areas. But in those areas, there is a lot of new construction, Ankeny and Waukee. So there you go. All right, so for that price, you can look in like Beaverdale or Waveland Park or Windsor Heights. And those are some great areas for resale homes, lived-in homes, and you can get a really charming neighborhood. Definitely going to find plenty of houses in that price range, $325,000. It definitely a 3-bedroom, maybe even a 4-bedroom. You're going to look at some older homes that have been built, in maybe like 1950s or something like that, but that have been redone and well taken care of. There's plenty of those out there. A lot of charm. You might have to deal with like a detached garage. Neighborhoods sometimes in some of those older neighborhoods don't have sidewalks, but they've got great trees. You're going to be closer to downtown, more convenient shops, because it's a built-out city. I mean, in those areas, you're not going to get a whole lot of new construction, but you're going to find those resales that have been remodeled. You may have to deal with older windows, and you may have drafty windows or something like that, but that's an easy fix. A little bit of cost, but you're getting a lower price on the houses. Those older homes might have maybe smaller closets and smaller kitchens, but if that's okay with you, you can find some great deals in those areas. And I love those parts of town. Really quiet, huge trees, nice backyards. I like that. Charm, walkable neighborhoods, that sort of thing. And then, you may want to look in like Altoona and Bondurant. Not a whole lot of people are looking in those areas. There's also not a whole lot available in those areas. They have recently been putting a couple of new construction homes in that area. So you're going to find sort of the same things that you'll find in like Waukee and Ankeny and those neighborhoods. But in Altoona and Bondurant, your money's going to go a little bit further. You can get like for $340,000, you can get some, more than likely you're going to find something with 4 bedrooms, and a little bit bigger, a little bit more value over there. In Bondurant and Altoona. You're still close to downtown, a lot of amenities over there. It is a little bit more industrial. You're going to be close to the outlet malls, Adventureland and Bass Pro and those sort of things, but still very convenient. It's just, a lot of people are looking on the west side. So Altoona and Bondurant, that's on the east side. And because everybody's looking on the west, you're going to get a little bit better price, a little bit better negotiation over there. Not a whole lot available over there, not a huge inventory, but there's some gems, and we can find something for you in that area if that's where you want to be. Some great stuff there. All right, let's talk a little bit about pros and cons about moving to Des Moines. I'm not going to mention a whole bunch of them, but for pros, you've got a really stable market here. Not like on the coasts or in the big cities where, a market crash or something like that, where the prices fluctuate a lot. When the prices go down in other areas a lot, prices kind of go down slowly over here. When they go up a lot in other places, they don't rise as fast. It's quite stable here, so that's great for the market. On the con side of that, you live here about 5 or 10 years, you want to sell your house, your equity is not as high in those booms in other areas, but you're still going to get some good equity really nice equity in a lot of these places, especially like Waukee, Ankeny, West Des Moines. Those are some of the best. It's a nice country feel in most of these suburbs. Every once in a while, in some of the areas, if you want to be next to everything, like in Waukee, you can find a place that is close to everything, shops, restaurants, that kind of stuff. You know, a couple of minutes down the road, you're in a nice, quiet neighborhood. You find that just about in all of these areas. So it's a nice, quiet place to live. You know, the schools are great, ranked some of the highest school districts in Iowa. So a lot of positives about living here in the Des Moines area. I personally love the weather. The worst part about the weather here is that it gets really cold in the winter, but the spring, summer, fall, most of the year, it's just fantastic. People are great here, lots of outdoor activities, you know, farmers markets. It's one of the best places in the nation, and I love farmers markets, a lot of community events. So anyway, it's a great place to be. Not to mention, you know, the data centers are coming here, so it's bringing a lot of infrastructure, a lot of money into the tax base, and a lot of jobs available because of that. Not to mention the, you know, insurance and finance and, you know, medical field. So a lot of great jobs around here too. A lot of positives here in the Des Moines Metro. So the cons, you know, the negatives about living in this area, you know, the property taxes are pretty high in this area. That's why you have such great parks and such great roads and lots of community events, and the city does a really great job using the tax money that they get, but it is a bit high. And in those sweet spot price ranges, you know, if you're looking, right now we're talking about $325 to $375, and that price point can go quite fast. If you go any lower than that, like, you know, $250 to $350, you're really going, those are going to go especially fast. Anyway, I can find you some stuff. If you're ready to go, we can get, you know, prepared and be ready to pull the trigger, so we can find some of those, put a nice solid offer in, and get that going. So basically, you know, if you're making $100,000 a year, there are a lot of options. And those are just 3 options that I talked about, but you can pretty much go anywhere in the metro, and it's going to be just a little bit different than what I just talked about. But those are basically what you're going to get. You can get into, you know, like a 2-story classic. You can get into those charming Beaverdale type homes, brick, Tudor, historic homes, great neighborhoods. Or you can get into a brand new construction home, 3-bed, 2-bath, 4 beds, 3 baths, depending on which location. So my advice would be to either, you know, on your own, figure out exactly where you want to be based on whatever it is, commute, schools, location, that kind of thing. Or get in touch with me and I'll help you figure out which location. If you're not that particular about location, that's even better. We can look at a variety of locations and pick the exact home that you want to go look at. The best thing to do, though, is to get with a loan officer. I'll put you in touch with some great ones, and be ready to go ahead and make that strong offer when you see that great house. Every once in a while, I show people homes. They go out looking for them. They find that one perfect one, and they've waited too long. Now they've got to go get a pre-approval, and then that house gets an offer on it, and we don't have an opportunity at it. So best thing to do is to, you know, reach out to me, and I'll tell you what the steps are. But figure out a place, first get a pre-approval, then figure out a place, then give me a call. We'll set up some tours, we'll go look at some houses, and we'll put a nice offer on a house. And, you know, it sounds real simple, but I'm going to make it simple. We're going to make it really smooth. We're going to find what you're looking for. I'm going to give you a custom list, or maybe you give me exactly what you want, and then we'll figure out and go look at the houses. That's the most fun part, is to go tour the houses, pick out exactly what you want, and then get into the process. And that's the part that I'll make really smooth. Like I said, if you're thinking about moving to this area, I would love to help. Give me a call. My contact information's in the description. Whether you're moving really soon or maybe out in a year, I can definitely help. If you have any questions about some of these numbers that I talked about, maybe you want some more details, give me a call. We can talk it through, or I can put you in touch with somebody who can give you even more details about like interest rates and all that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a call and I'll help. Appreciate you. See you on the next video.